Hello, welcome to Naresh Technologies. This is Sudhakar Sharma. We are continuing our ASP.NET MVC video sessions of how data binding works using entity framework. In the previous video, we discussed about connection with the database, accessing the data and displaying the data. We designed an action for inserting the records into the database from the UI. So, for that we designed three important actions. Here we have an index action returning the list of all products, and we have details action returning any specific product, and we have a create action. On get, it will return a empty form. On post, it will collect the form data and it will present the form data, so that it can access the form data and insert into the database. Now, after understanding how we can access the data, now in this session we will learn various methods of accessing the data and using it. So, in previous session we discussed how to design a create action, on post how to collect the data, and what we done is we collected the data by using form collection, a form collection which allows you to access the data and use the data. And form collection is nothing but it is a name value collection which can access the values of the controls with reference of their names. So, we used this form collection and designed an action to insert the record. Now, we will see other methods how we can access and use the data. So, I am cleaning up this create action, okay, and the form collection, fine. This is create on post, yep. So, if you are directly viewing this video, you can go through the previous video. So, where we discussed about the other scenario of interacting with data source. So, in this we are continuing of in various methods how to access the data and use the data in a controller. So, user inputs the data from form and we need to collect and use the data. In the previous example, we done that by using a form collection. Now, see the other methods. The next method is how we can collect the data and use the data. Directly you can refer the form controls, directly you can refer the form controls and access their values, You can directly refer the form controls and access their values. How? So, in the create form you can observe this is the create form. In the create form you can see we have editor is a text box, and this text box is binded with a field name, and another text box price, it is binded with price. So, what happens generally is in the view it generates a text box, input type as text, and the name of text box it will use the model field name, and another text box we have type text and it will use price. That means the model field names are used as the names for the controls that are automatically generated through scaffolding. Now, we will use these names to access the data from that particular control and use in our controller. So, what I am doing now is create action on post request. We have to collect the values from two controls and we need to store in a reference type. I am collecting from name, it is a string type. We are collecting from the field name, and a decimal type we are collecting from price. So, the create action is now directly accessing the fields name and price which are actually binded to the text boxes. So, from the text boxes we are accessing the values. After that we will create a product type, product is equal to new product. Into this product I will define name is equal to whatever name is accessed, and product dot price is equal to whatever price is accessed. Now, the name and price that we are collecting, they are now stored in the product object. So, we will add this into the table. So, DB is our context. In that context we have products table, into that we are adding by using the function add. So, product entity is added. After that DB dot save changes, we will make the changes saved, and it should redirect to action. It will redirect to the action called index. So, now the create action is ready. This time create on post is not using a form collection. Instead of using the form collection, we are directly referring to the field names and using the field names. Let us see how this functions. I will start from the index. Okay. Now, you can see the index action is ready, and the index action is displaying the list of all the products. We designed a create action. Create, when I click on get, it will return a form, and when I enter the details, you can observe already we have some products, like the last one is the sunglasses. So, I will add another one. Okay. Let us put the name Samsung J8 and some price I defined. Then click on create. This time we are not using a form collection. On post we are collecting the data individually. You can observe, I will go to the page source. In the page source you can see here the control. So, this is the form, and in the form you can see, you can see this is the form with action products create and method is post. And you can observe here the form is using a text box. This is a text box and its name is name. Another text box, you can see the text box, its name is price. We are directly accessing them and we are using. So, what happens now when I click on this, when I click on create, you can observe in the products on post we are collecting that name and price. We are storing in a product type and we are adding into the product table. So, when I finish with this click on create, you can see that record is added and it is shown in the list. So, the first method we are using a form collection. The second method we are referring to the fields individually. Now, there is another method. Let us see what is that method. If you are referring to the fields, you can observe in the create action, actually this create view is binded with a product type. That means all the controls that are defined inside this view are binded to a product type of object. So, if I can access this product type of object, that means I can refer all the fields. You can individually refer the field and you can refer all the fields just by using a reference of this particular class. So, create view is binded to a product type and you can use this product type in your controller to refer to all the fields that are defined. So, what we can do is go to controller. In the controller, now I will remove these individual field names that I am referring. Instead of that, I can directly create and access a product type reference. That means I am creating a create action on post. Here this create action is binded to a create view which is using a product type object. We are referring to the same product type object. That means now this product object can access all the members of that product. So, like product ID, the name and price, all the details can be accessed. So, now I need not to declare this. simply I can add that product into the table and save the changes. So, previously we referred to every field individually. If all fields that we are referring belongs to a specific type, then instead of referring every field, you can directly access the type and use it. Now, just to understand whether the data is coming here or not on post from the product, what we will do is, we will set a breakpoint here on create post, and let us run that create action and see. This time, in order to access the data from a view and use in the controller, I am using directly the model type. I am using the model type which have access to fields, all fields in the form. Directly I can access the model type which have access to all fields in the form. So that with one reference we can access all the fields and use them. Okay, let us see. In the index I will go to create, and create I will enter some new details. So, I say some fast track watch. Okay. Then I defined some price and click on create. You can see the breakpoint is set here. You can observe now this product type. So, on post we are accessing the product type. You can observe this product type is accessing those details. That means the product name and the product price are defined. As product ID is auto generated, it will be generated in the database automatically. Now, next step what we are doing. So, F11, you can see the data is passed into this object. So, and this object is added into the table. Okay, then complete. You can see the new record is also inserted into the database. So, the third method is, instead of referring to every field individually, if all these fields are configured through a type, then you can directly refer the type and you can access the members from all the fields and use them. So, you can collect the data from any form by using form collection or by using the reference of every field individually or by referring to all the fields. Now, what we are doing is we are accessing this by collecting the field names and the field type values in the method function parameters. Now, what we can do is we can use two other functions like update model and try update model. These are the two functions provided with entity. The advantage of these functions is whatever the model is being used in the view, that model will be binded and updated with the changes. So, without referring individually all the fields in the model. So, the next point is, what I will do is I will not pass any parameters into this function. Create on post, we will directly bind the model data. Which model is being used? Which model is being used for create? For create we are using the model product. So, what I will do now, I will create a product type. So, product type is equal to new product. That means initially this product is empty. So, this product is empty, means it is not having any values, a new memory is allocated for that. Now, I will use a function update model. This update model function is expecting a model to update, and our model is product. We will pass that product to update. Now, what this update model will do is, so it updates the values of the model, the previous values of the model with the new values. Actually, the previous values in this situation, the previous values, the model's fields are empty. user will enter some new values. Now those new values are binded to this product type. That means now update model is able to access the data from the fields that you have entered in the form and bind that values to this product type. Initially the product is an empty. Now update model will add all the data into the new data, whatever updates happened, it is updated into this product. Now after updating, that means now this product is having some new details, these details are added into the table. So this is another method of updating your model. So create an instance of your model and update that model by using the function update model. So whatever the new values are passed into the model, it will update and bind those values to this object, so that we can pass into add function and insert the record. Now we have some issue technically in the function. Why? Because the action result create on get and the action result create on post, these two are having same signature. So which is not possible. So what we will do is we will change this to a different name. So I will change it to as a post product. Okay. But this post product function has to respond to the same create action. Why you changed the name as post product? Because the same name, signature and function cannot be there inside a C# class. So we have to change the name. But this post product has to respond to the create action only. Then we can add an attribute here, attribute action name. Action name, it has to respond to an action create. Otherwise what happens is it will respond to an action with the same name, but we want that action to respond to the name create, then we can configure that with action name. So on post it will respond to the action create. Technically it will execute this function which will collect the data from the product and it will bind the data and it will add the new data into the table and finish inserting the record. But one important technical issue with update model is, whenever you are updating the model, any model level validation error occurred, then this update model will catch that exception and throw the exception. We can handle those exceptions by using another method. So update model will try to forcibly update the model even when the validation error occurred. So even when the validation error occurred, it will try to update the model. In that case, this leads to an exception, it throws an exception. So to avoid that, we can use another function, try update model. What this try update model will do is, it will update only if the model state is valid. If the model state is valid and there are no validation errors in the model level, then it will update. Update model will try to update forcibly even when validation errors are there. Then it will throw an exception and it will handle that exception. Instead of that, we can directly handle the exceptions and display the error messages, so before it is updated. So we can do that by using try update model. Later in detail we will discuss the differences between update model and try update model in various other aspects. Initially I am using update model. So let us put a breakpoint again here, okay, and let us run the index action. Yeah, in that action I will click on create new and this time enter some details. So suppose I am adding some Titan watch, okay, then some price is defined, then click on create and it comes here. You can see the next step when we go, and you can see this is a new product. So current it is null, no details are there. Okay, next level you can see still this product is empty, name and price are not binded. What this update model will do, let us run this and see what this update model will do. You can see this update model has updated the data. Now the new data is available here and this data is passed into this product add function and it will insert that record, and just run this and see, you can see the last record inserted into the table. So, by using update model we can update, means we can access the data from the form, we can update in the controller, and we can pass into the database. So, these are the various methods of collecting the data from form. How try update model works? So, we will copy this and we will change this into try update model, and the update should happen when the model is valid. Then we will check the condition if model state dot is valid. If model state is valid, that means if it is not having any validation errors, then it has to bind and update and redirect to the action. So, if model state is valid, then it will perform the validations. Now, very important is if any validation error occurred, how to handle them, we will discuss in validation concept. When we discuss about validations, then we can clearly differentiate between update model and try update model. As of now, try update model, let us run this and see, it is also able to insert the record into the database. So, we are using different methods. By using form collection we can access, by referring to the names of the fields you can access, by referring to the model you can access, by using update model you can update, and by using try update model. Try update model will update only when there are no validation errors, right. So, update model will try to update even when there are validation errors there, means validation errors are existing, then still it tries to update with throws an exception. Now, click on create and enter some new details. Suppose I said a flash drive, so okay, USB, fine, and some price entered, and click on create, and it should insert that record into the database. These are the various methods of accessing the data and displaying the data. Now, once we can do this, we can implement all other operations like, so edit and delete. How to interact with the operations like edit and delete, that we can discuss in the next session. Thank you.